You think you're going out for a nice dinner? Soft lighting, a warm welcome, maybe a flute of sparkling water. What you don't see is the backstage spectacle, the hidden chains, shortcuts, and kitchen secrets masked behind the menu. I'm about to walk you through what your favorite restaurants don't want you to know. Stay with me. It gets messier. Let's drop in first on the Cheesecake Factory. You've been sold the image. Made from scratch, fresh ingredients, menu after menu of indulgence. But here's something they'll admit. The cheesecakes? Those are delivered frozen, then thawed in store. You're not getting a cake baked on site. You're getting one unfrozen and dressed for dinner. That's not just a quirky fact. It's emblematic. Because the longer a menu is, the more you leave yourself vulnerable to shortcuts. Insider whispers say that when dishes are too numerous, staffs rely heavily on prepped elements, sauces made in industrial kitchens, components thawed and warmed, final assembly done under timer pressure. Sometimes food isn't cooked fresh for every order, but assembled from components. And when the flow hits a rush, stories say it becomes a kitchen battlefield of overcooking, undercooking, and guesswork. Now, before you push away your plate, let me take you to Cracker Barrel, a place built on southern warmth and slow-cooked charm. But reports suggest many of those homey dishes arrive frozen or semi-prepared. Green beans, dumped from cans, left under heat lamps for hours. Mac and cheese, bulk tubs brought in cold, then heated as orders roll in. One ex-employee likened it to cafeteria food with tablecloths. Temperatures and storage practices emerge again in inspection records. Improper layering of raw and cooked meats, staff skipping hygiene steps, sauces held too long. One location was flagged for gravy held at unsafe temps for nearly 2 hours. That is not comfort food. It's playing kitchen roulette. It gets worse when guests post photos, sticky floors, grimy silverware, drink glasses with leftover lipstick. A diner claimed their mashed potatoes had a hair in them. Another said their water glass smelled moldy. Meanwhile, staff reportedly reused utensils from previous shifts or scrambled to prep trays last minute to keep up. That rustic authenticity? Maybe more like prepackaged charm. So what does this mean for you tonight? You might order what seems comforting, but what you're getting could be a patchwork of frozen ingredients, rushed reheating, and ambiguous freshness. Curious what the next kitchen collapse looks like. I'll take you into seafood territory next, and trust me, you won't want to skip that. Before I go, though, if you're here for the real scoop, hit that subscribe button on Undercover Spoon, and hang tight. We're just getting started. Next up, let's dive into murky waters. Literally. Because Red Lobster, the place known for its Cheddar Bay biscuits and candlelit seafood splurges, might be serving more freezer than fresh catch. Let's start with those biscuits. You'd think they were lovingly baked on site by some smiling seafood chef, right? Nope. The dough is frozen, pre-portioned, and baked en masse. And that mouth-watering garlic butter, straight from a squeeze bottle. One former worker described it as paint-by-numbers baking. But now let's talk fish, and not in a good way. According to multiple former staffers, a shocking number of dishes at Red Lobster start frozen, including the fresh catch of the day. Tilapia, for example, often arrives rock solid, tossed straight onto the grill while still icy inside. We just covered it in seasoning and prayed the customer liked salt, one employee confessed. Even the lobster has secrets. Those live crustaceans in the front tank? Mostly for show. The majority of what ends up on your plate was pre-cooked, flash-frozen, and microwaved in butter sauce. A diner once described their tale as rubbery, watery, and sweet, like seafood candy gone wrong. And health inspectors have noticed. Reports from multiple Red Lobster locations reveal improper thawing, raw seafood stored next to ready-to-eat items, and shellfish held at borderline unsafe temperatures. One inspector described a seafood cooler smell as a biological alarm bell. Romantic seafood dinner? More like high-stakes food roulette. Let's pivot, not to safety, but to spectacle. Enter Chuck E. Cheese, a place where the arcade beeps louder than the kitchen timer and where the food, well, it's technically there. Pizza here is a punchline. Viral videos and ex-employees have all danced around the same disturbing claim: reused slices. While the company has denied it, multiple insiders describe missing pizza slices magically reappearing on freshly plated pies. It's the world's most low-budget magic trick. Even if you get a new pizza, the quality is questionable. Dough arrives frozen, the sauce comes in industrial tubs, and the cheese is, let's just say, it's not winning awards. One worker said the pepperoni smelled like locker room and paprika. Then there's the salad bar. Uncovered bins, tongs on the floor, wilting vegetables. One inspector found translucent carrots and slimy spinach. A buffet of food-borne experiments. Cleanliness? That's a whole new level of chaos. You've got toddlers, arcade tokens, and sticky pizza fingers. Tables are wiped with what one employee called the eternal rag. A customer once found a Band-Aid under their breadstick. Another discovered their fork still had dried marinara from someone else's meal. Now yes, it's meant for kids, but parents are paying adult prices. A basic dinner combo can cost $40 to $50 for a family. At those rates, you shouldn't be gambling on whether your cup has been rinsed since the Carter administration. The truth is, Chuck E. Cheese isn't about food. It's about distraction, lights, sounds, games, all to keep you from realizing your dinner is a reheated afterthought. So what do we have so far? A seafood chain that masks frozen fish in buttered nostalgia, and a kid-centric chaos factory serving up mystery pizza slices. And you're still with me, which tells me you're hungry for the truth. You're not just here to eat, you're here to know. So keep going, and while you're at it, hit subscribe to Undercover Spoon. We dig up the stories they hope you'll never find. Coming up next, what if the party vibe at your favorite Friday night spot was just smoke, mirrors, and microwave-safe trays? Let's go deeper. Let's walk into TGI Fridays, a place that promises every night is a celebration. But peek behind the swinging kitchen doors, and the only thing being celebrated is how much they can microwave before you notice. That sizzling skillet of fajitas? It's not coming fresh off the grill. It's pre-cooked meat reheated with a splash of water on a hot metal plate to create that dramatic steam. One ex-line cook said it bluntly: our special ingredient was timing and hope. The potato skins, frozen. The spinach artichoke dip, microwaved in a plastic container and stirred until it looks alive. Even the sauces often arrive pre-mixed in little packets. Think sad, flavorless shampoo samples for your dinner. Behind the bar, things don't get cleaner. A viral photo from one location showed a bartender drying glasses with the same rag used to wipe down the bar. That's not multitasking. It's how you turn a cocktail into a petri dish. And it's not just one location. Health inspection reports across the country have flagged Friday's restaurants for temperature abuse, cross-contamination, and mold growing in ice machines. One report described the kitchen sink overflowing with dirty utensils, while staff continued prepping food inches away. But let's switch to Denny's, the 24/7 symbol of comfort food and post-midnight pancakes, except that stack of nostalgia might come with a side of deception. The burgers? Frozen patties that are grilled with guesswork. The steaks? Vacuum-packed, pre-seasoned, and sometimes half-cooked before they even touch the grill. One former worker joked they played burger roulette to guess if the meat was from today's delivery or last week's defrost. And those pancakes? The batter is pumped from plastic jugs that get reused for days. Syrup containers sit out all day, sticky, unwashed, and occasionally playing host to fruit fly colonies. One employee said they once found dried maple crust so thick it had to be scraped off with a butter knife. Let's talk grand slams. Eggs pre-scrambled and left in warming trays. Toast drenched in margarine and stacked like it's prepping for war. Hash browns reheated multiple times if no one orders them fast enough. A former cook said their secret to crispy edges was just thyme and grill spray. But Denny's biggest flaw isn't even the food, it's the staffing. High turnover means skeleton crews at night, sometimes with one person working as cook, server, and dishwasher all at once. One ex-manager admitted that if a mistake happened, no one had the time to fix it. They just hope the customer didn't notice. And cleanliness? It's a gamble. Some locations sparkle. Others? Inspectors have found raw meat stored above produce, utensils soaking in dirty water, and restrooms that look like they've been abandoned since breakfast service. One diner posted a photo of their syrup-stuck table with a napkin glued to the surface. Their caption? "I found the remains of yesterday's toast." So ask yourself, are you eating because it's good or because it's familiar? That's the pattern. These places aren't relying on culinary excellence. They're betting on your nostalgia, your routine, your need for something easy. But when easy turns into reused gloves, thawed beef, and microwaved spinach dip, the comfort wears off real fast. Still with me? Good, because the next two restaurants might look sleek, wholesome, even trendy. But they're hiding their own quiet chaos under all that clean branding. Trust me, you'll want to hear it. Next stop, Panera Bread. That calming cafe vibe, the warm-toned walls, the chalkboard signs that make you feel like you just wandered into a mindful breakfast club. It's a vibe, sure, but behind the branding is a kitchen that's more dorm room than deli. Start with the soup. That beloved broccoli cheddar, it's not made fresh each morning. It arrives frozen in giant plastic bags, is dropped into boiling water, and then poured out like it's the product of some artisanal kitchen. A former employee said it best. We weren't chefs. We were packet managers. The mac and cheese, same deal. So famously microwaved, Panera leaned into the joke on TikTok, even showing a bag getting sliced open like a fancy TV dinner. The viral video may have earned likes, but it also confirmed what critics had whispered for years. Even the sandwiches, so seemingly crafted. The meats and cheeses, pre-sliced, pre-portioned, stored in plastic bins. Avocados often arrive already mashed. And those crusty ciabatta rolls? Not baked fresh. They arrive par-baked, then get turbo-toasted in ovens that scream louder than the marketing. And the price tag? It's premium. A soup and sandwich combo can hit $18, easy. But when your salad greens are wilting in uncovered bins and your dressing was squeezed from a corporate jug, what are you really paying for? Safety is another issue entirely. Health reports show multiple Panera locations dinged for storing cold items above safe temps. A former employee claimed they were told to keep going during refrigeration breakdowns. The line doesn't stop, even if the turkey starts sweating. And those fancy pastries, baked from frozen dough, then left in display cases all day. One insider said the croissants got more handprints than compliments. You're not ordering baked goods, you're buying edible props. Now, if Panera's playing the role of health halo illusionist, P.F. Chang's is doing the full Broadway performance. Dark wood, golden dragons, ambient lighting that makes every plate look like art. But what you're getting isn't culinary wizardry. It's fast casual in disguise. Take those lettuce wraps. The lettuce, pre-cut and vacuum sealed. The fillings, pre-cooked and marinated off-site. One employee compared the kitchen to assembling Legos with sauces. Those dramatic stir-fries sizzling from the wok, mostly a stage show. Many proteins are pre-cooked earlier in the day, then hit the wok just long enough to look fresh. One ex-chef admitted, "If the shrimp was still frozen, we tossed it in anyway." The heat would finish it. That's not a recipe. That's a gamble with garnish. And the sauces? Massive vats of pre-mixed blends stored in plastic bins. At some locations, inspectors found raw meat stored too close to these containers, including one case where chicken juices were leaking near sesame oil storage. That's not fusion. That's contamination with a marketing twist. P.F. Chang's rice is steamed in giant batches. The noodles, pre-packaged, tossed into boiling water like instant ramen with better lighting. The dumplings, frozen. The dessert, often sliced and plated from pre-made cakes shipped in from corporate suppliers. Cleanliness? Health reports have documented dishwashers breaking mid-service and staff continuing with hot water rinses and crossed fingers. At one location, the backup plan for dirty plates was use plastic forks for now. But when you sit down, Dim lights, sleek menus, ambient music. It feels like quality. That's the real illusion. Because when your $30 entree is made from pre-cooked parts and plated like a performance, the only thing you're really digesting is branding. So what does all this mean? It means you've probably been overpaying for food that was thawed, flipped, and drizzled in denial. You thought you were eating fresh. You were really eating factory-made convenience with extra seasoning, 12 restaurants, countless illusions, and one uncomfortable truth. The more polished the dining room, the more likely the chaos is hiding just behind the kitchen door. If this series made you rethink what's on your plate, go ahead, hit that like button, and subscribe to Undercover Spoon. Because we're not just serving dinner, we're serving the truth. And something tells me you're still hungry.